Hello everyone. So this is the summary of the poem Ode to Melancholy by John Keats. This poem was published in 1820. Okay. In this poem, John Keats is giving instruction to those people who are suffering from sorrow and despair. Okay. And he advises them not to focus their attention on the sad and unhappy things, but to spend time with the beautiful objects of nature. So this is the message which is giving through this poem, that these people who are suffering from melancholy, they should not ignore or avoid sorrow, but they should learn to embrace it or to face it. Okay, so this is the message which is given through this poem. Now come to the text of the poem. When the poem starts, we see that poet is saying to this person who is suffering from melancholy, okay, that he should not drink the water of Lethe River. Lethe River, which is the river of forgetfulness in Greek mythology. So this person who is depressed, he should not drink water of Lethe River to become forgetful, okay, or to erase his memory, okay. And he should not squeeze the roots of the poisonous plant wolf bane, okay, to take its wine and to drink its wine. That he should not ignore sorrow, or he should not try to die, okay, in order to relieve his pain. He should not embrace death in order to relieve his pain, and he should not be forgetful about his sorrow. Poet is saying that he should learn to face it, okay. And then in the next line he says, nor suffer thy pale forehead to be kissed. Pale forehead means that this person is suffering from pain and sorrow, okay. So this person should not come in contact with the nightshade plant, which is poisonous. And he should also avoid taking wine from the queen of underworld, Proserpine, okay. And then he says he should not make necklace from the poisonous yew berries, and he should not focus his attention on the mournful sounds created by beetle and death moths, which create mournful sounds. So these are the insects. Beetle and death moths are the insects which create mournful sounds. So he should avoid listening to such sounds, okay. And when he is upset, okay, he should not find support in owl, which is a bird of the night, okay. And then the poet says, for shade to shade will come to drowsily and drown the wakeful anguish of the soul. So this person should not try to ignore sorrow, but he should try to embrace this sorrow. Okay. Okay, he should be awake, and he should be no, he should not be ignorant of this sorrow, but he should embrace this sorrow in order to relieve the anguish and the pain in his soul. Come to the next lines. Now, in the next line, poet says, but when the melancholy fit shall fall, sudden from heaven like a weeping cloud. So when this person is, sad and unhappy, then when he witnesses rainfall, then he feels like as if the cloud is weeping. Okay. And when rain falls upon the flowers, these flowers start blooming. Okay. These flowers, when their heads were bent because they were lacking the water, now after getting the rainfall, these flowers start blooming, and the entire hill gets covered in green, okay, in green color with the grass, okay. And this covering of the hill is compared with the shroud which covers the dead body, okay. So for a sad person, even the beauty will appear to be a kind of, a sad atmosphere, okay. Then glut thy sorrow on a morning rose. Now the poet is advising this person to focus his attention on the beauty of the morning rose, and on the rainbow, on the sea, and on the crowd of beautiful peony flowers. Okay. And then poet says, if this person's beloved is angry with him, then he should let her express her anger, and he should hold her hand so that she can speak and he can see into her deep eyes. Okay. Come to the next lines. Now he says that sorrow cannot be separated from beauty, because beauty is short lived and beauty is always followed by sorrow. Okay. So they cannot be separated with each other. Okay. Beauty is short lived. Okay. Beauty that must die, beauty is short lived. And joy is also short lived. Joy also says goodbye to us quickly. Okay. And aching pleasure nigh, turning to poison while the bee mouth sips. So when this person tastes excessive pleasure, the way bee tastes nectar. So this excessive pleasure also creates pain in this person, and sometimes it appears to be poisonous. Okay. And then in the next line, poet says, A in the very temple of delight, veiled melancholy has her sovereign shrine. That the goddess melancholy lives in the temple of delight. Okay. Okay, so melancholy lives in the temple of delight. Though seen of none save him, whose strenuous tongue can burst joy's grape against his palate fine. Now, poet is saying that a person who has learnt to embrace sorrow and pain, and who's not trying to avoid it by taking the help of wine or poison or something else to numb his senses, so this person can taste the joy. Okay, taste the fruit of joy. Okay, grape is the fruit of joy. His soul shall taste the sadness of her might, and then his soul will become powerful, and this soul will learn to deal with the sadness. Okay, and then goddess melancholy will keep his soul as her trophy in her temple. Okay, so this is the poem. Thanks.